All-American Prepper coming at you from the bunker. It's a mess in here. Just can't sleep tonight. Hadn't made a video in a couple days. Haven't been feeling well. Get out of there. Caught some sort of bug. Could have been or some sort of stomach virus. I don't know. But I'm feeling better now. NyQuil does miracles. Duke, stop. My dog, he's being a pain in the ass. Just want to talk about a few things. One thing, our monetary system. Now, you got a lot of channels that are fear porn and clickbait. They are. But I think a lot of them do that fear porn to try to wake you up of the reality of the situation. Because our money is collapsing. And the banks, they just put, it's on a computer. Their money's on a computer. So, am I getting a 5x5? Check and see real quick. Probably not. No, let me just turn this net off. Am I getting a 5x5? Can somebody let me know that? Am I coming in good or am I having internet issues? I see we got somebody on here, but do I got a 5x5? All right, appreciate it. My internet out here in these deep woods is rough. So you got a lot of prepper channels that they have a lot of clickbait and they're fear porn. I don't do that. I normally don't report what's going on. I mean, that's what they do. And there are a lot of good channels out there. But I'm going to tell you, if you got a lot of cash in the bank, you need to get it out of there. Our financial system is collapsing. You need to get it out of there. And you need to spend it on food preps and a way to defend yourself. Now, after you have all the food preps that you feel you need and a way to defend yourself, that paper's collapsing. I would go down and buy silver with it. I don't have any money, but if I did, I would also be farming and raising animals, because eventually, no matter how much food prep you got, you're going to run out. And you have to be self-reliant. That's the key to getting through what's coming. Now, here's where I'm going to touch some nerves, because I don't write anything down. I just say it. Little Miss Prepper, she knows that. That's why sometimes I go off topic. Now, this administration that we have, just because they stand for, well, if you feel like you're a woman today, you're a woman today. And if you feel like you're a man tomorrow, you're a man tomorrow. It's a fake sense of they stand for freedom, because they really don't. They're doing their best to take away the Second Amendment, putting all these restrictions. So they really don't care if you're kind of crazy and don't know what gender you are, when that's very easy to know. You just get your hand and put it down your pants and you'll know. So they'll buy into this lunatic crap to make you feel free. But down here in Florida, if you just get the wrong tag on your car, if you're driving someone else's car that you borrowed and it has the wrong tag on there and you don't even know it, and you get pulled, that's a felony. And even after you pay your fines and you've done your time in jail, everything, you still have that felony on you. You can't buy a gun. You can't have a gun. And I've read the Constitution, and nowhere in there have I seen. Maybe I miss it. Maybe someone can point it out to me where it says, oh, yeah, you have the right to bear arms unless you do this or unless you do that. I don't see it in there. That's an infringement on your rights right there. You know, I know a lot of people, they drove with the wrong tag on their car, get pulled by the police, catch a felony charge, and just because they got the wrong tag on there, they got a felony on their record. They can't have a gun, and being charged as a felon, you can't rent nowhere down here, not nowhere decent. With a felony on your record, they won't rent to you. As if anybody can afford this rent down here now. It's gone insane. Apartments that were normally $400 are now $1,600, and that's not no exaggeration. 2 years ago they were $400, now they're $1,600. What the hell happened? So it's getting bad, and it's not that so much. Now there is a lot of price gouging. And these Fortune 500s, they're making more money because they are price gouging. But our dollar is losing its value. That's facts. It's not that everything's going up in price. It's that our dollar is worth less. So you need to get your food preps. You need to get that money out of the bank and spend it on assets that you're going to need. Because the day is going to come, you're going to wake up and that paper money is going to be worthless. It virtually already is. Just go down and try to buy. Hell, everything costs double. So that means our money has devalued 50%. And things are more than double. Like I said, a $400 apartment is now $1,600. I know people that both parents work 2 jobs and their ass is still living in the campground because they can't afford the rent down here. It's not that they're lazy. They're trying. They're working 2 jobs each. And that's bad because now nobody's there to watch the kids. So little Johnny and little Debbie's running wild, doing shit they wouldn't normally be doing because their parents ain't there to smack them. You need to get ready. It's going to get bad. I'm not a fear monger. That's why I don't normally report on current events. Because we are, in my opinion, we are going to go to war with China and Russia. We already are. We already at war with them financially. But, that's how it starts. We've been fighting proxy wars with those guys forever. Even since Vietnam, that was Russia. We're fighting communism. Now, this current administration, in my opinion, I believe they're a bunch of commies. I really do. Now, like I said, they don't care if you dye your hair purple or blue. They don't care if you think you're a girl when you're a guy. They don't care about none of that. But they want your guns. It's an illusion of freedom, is what it is. It's a distraction. Well, they got you worried about what gender you are when, like I said, that's really easy to check. They're over here passing these laws, man, taking our freedoms away. You know, if something don't change in a real big hurry, we're in bad shape. We already are. Now, if y'all have any questions, just shoot them questions. You know, I love answering questions. You know, I can give you my opinion. That's all I got. You know, and if you knew my life story, I have seen countries fall. And we're falling hard. It is not looking good. And, you know, sure, go down there and buy that awesome, expensive self defense tool. Thank you, Erica Gardens. Buy that, but you need to train with it. It's not going to do you no good if you don't know how to use it under stress. You know, there's a difference at shooting at a paper target and shooting at something that's shooting back. So it needs to be just not even thinking about it. You just need to know how to use your self-defense tool without even thinking about it. It just happens. Or under stress, you will not be able to think. Ask me how I know. I've been in combat. I've seen the best trained soldiers there is just freeze up and not know what the hell to do because that fear kicked in and it shut their brain off and it just couldn't think. So you got to train with it. Yes, an EMP is a very high probability because that way they save a lot of our infrastructure. They don't blow everything up, they just shut everything down, communications and all. And you will not know that we're being invaded until you look out there and see an army marching down your street. So, yeah, EMP is a very likely incident. And when an EMP goes off, you know what's going to kill a lot of people is no sewage. When the sewage is not running and nobody, you know, I'm sitting on mine. I have a bucket with a toilet lid and everything. Just put a garbage bag in there, handle your business, properly dispose of that garbage bag, because that's going to be a big problem when there's no sewage running, especially in these big cities. There is going to be so much disease running rampant. It is going to be insane. I mean, most people are going to die of typhoid and all kind of weird diseases because there's going to be no sanitation. That's why everybody, even if you got a flushing toilet and all, like I don't have one. I've been using this bucket for 5 years. Me and Little Miss Prepper, we've been living off grid for 5 years. I would not even know the grid went down unless someone told me, because my internet acts up all the time anyhow. So I was like, oh, the internet's just messed up. I do not have a television in my home. My doctor says, yeah, you got high blood pressure, but it's psychological. He's like, you know, you're not overweight. You know, there's nothing physical causing it. It's your mental state is why you have high blood pressure. And I do have PTSD. I don't even hide it. I do. Do you think this winter will be worse than 2020 if you had to guess? I don't think it. I know it. Especially in Europe. Over there, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to freeze to death because of all this insanity with this oil going on and the embargoes and this and that. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of, and unfortunately, it's going to be elderly people and children that are going to suffer the most. Me personally, I think even here in America, after you've seen what happened in Texas, where they literally, some people froze to death because they relied on the grid, I will not ever let myself be that vulnerable. I will not ever rely on the grid. I won't do it. Get you a wood burning stove and stockpile you a lot of wood, because that wood burning stove will heat a section in your home. You know, it's a wood burning heater, really. And, you know, forever, mankind has used wood to heat their dwelling. I mean, you can even set a wood burning stove up in a tent. And the trick to keeping the tent warm is wrapping it with this plastic called Bisqueen. Because the way these things are going, I am seeing more and more homeless people that have a job. They have a job and they're going homeless because they can't afford the rent down here. It is insane. And there's really nowhere safe for them to set up their tent. I mean, really, you can cut right through a tent wall with a knife and somebody be right on you. I recommend, even if you're doing financially well, because you never know, your job could shut down tomorrow. You could fall and break your leg. You know, anything can happen. You need a second location already on standby. I would go down here and buy one of those buy here, pay here sheds, pay it off, put it on somebody's property that they have paid off, that don't mind it being there. Preferably, stop ground, Duke. Preferably further out in the woods, the better. The further away from civilization you can get, the better you're going to be. That way you can set up booby traps and stuff around your perimeter. You know if someone's coming. Setting up a tent in the city, that's going to be dangerous. But if you get one of those buy here, pay here sheds, you can get one for $150 a month. Put it on someone's property that's good people. You can live in that thing, really. And you got a door you can lock. You can cut a hole in the wall if you can get electricity, run air conditioning, run heater. It's virtually a tiny home. That's what I did, and I turned mine into a bunker. And that frees up a lot of money for me to be able to help people and prep. Yes, you know, actually, me and Little Miss Prepper, we did what happened? We were living real good. And I wasn't taking my medicine, and I just come off a 20-year marriage with 3 kids, and I was in bad shape mentally. My PTSD got the best of me. Next thing you know, we're living in a car. We were living in a car. We did that. You know, I learned everything the hard way. And yes, we did live in a car for a long time. But then, I figured it out. I was like, hey, I just figured it out. I'll get me one of those sheds, put it on some good people's property, help them out. And they're helping me out by letting me have that shed there. And with my PTSD and with the way things are going, I did turn it into a bunker. A bunker does not have to be underground, by the way. I just want to clarify that. When I was on the Angry Prepper, they were like, oh, he's in Florida. He can't. Look, man, I've been in combat. Okay. So if you've never been in combat, don't chime in about that because I have come across so many good bunkers that were above ground. You can even build a bunker inside your home. People have a misconception of what a bunker is. They think it's some big thing you bury underground, which you can do that. But that not, a bunker is a hardened position that can take on incoming and you can fight from. That's a bunker. Doesn't matter where it's at, underground, above ground, in a tree, wherever. So that was a misconception. Yeah, having a car, that's nice. We did that. And we went and stayed at a campground. I don't like, I've been in other countries in combat with body armor on. And when I get hot, I get very temperamental. And down here in Florida, man, it is hot as hell. So what I did when we were living in that car, we'd go to a campground that had electricity and a hot shower, which that's nice. I would just put the air conditioner in the car window and seal it off. So we had air conditioning, a hot shower. All those campgrounds got most of them, the ones we stayed at, had a grill. Just gather up wood and cook your food. And I know how to forage and I know how to fish. And we lived that way for a year at least. But we got tired of it, because it's cramped, with two people. And it was a small car, so I couldn't stretch my legs out. And I started working security again. I got my head back together. I got my shit back together. I'm good now. I mean, I use my PTSD as a strength. I don't let it be a weakness. I use it as a strength. It makes me better at my job. Really, it does. But so I got my wits back about me. And I got me a buy here, pay here shed. Paid it off. Fortified it. Made it into a bunker. And my home is paid off. I don't have no house payments or nothing. Now, and even though I don't have a house, we're still struggling. I'm paying child support. That's hurting me. I pay a lot of money in child support, which, I should have to pay that. And I do. But I would do a better job at raising that kid, but it is what it is. If y'all got any questions, oh, sorry about that. Am I still coming in? If y'all got any questions, just feel free to ask. But I'm telling you, you need to take your money out of the bank. And you watch, if you got a lot of money in that bank, they're going to give you a hard time. And they are going to be like, oh, well, we can only give you $5,000 at one time and come back a couple weeks later and get more. They're loaning your money out. When you got your money in there, they're loaning that money out. They're virtually loaning money out that's not theirs. So when this thing goes down, when you go to the bank, you're not going to be able to get your money. And it's devaluing. You need to turn it into hard assets. You really do. You know, your food, your preps, your defense. Try to get out of them big cities if you can. I do understand there's a lot of people that can't do that. I get it. You know, you got ties there, you got family there, you got your job there, you got, I understand, but harden that place the best you can. And do not let no one know you're prepping, because it's going to be like the zombie apocalypse. They're going to come and try to take your stuff. And that's going to be a shame when you have someone out there that you thought was your best friend, and you got to do something to them to keep from them taking your food for your kids, because their kids don't have any because they didn't prep. There's a lot of people under the delusion that everything is going to be fine. No, it's not. It's going to be bad. It's already getting that way. You need to prep up. I'm at the point of I'm begging you. If you want to survive this, you need to prep. Really. You know, I do this channel to help people. To, you know, I was in Bosnia, man. I seen unspeakable, horrible things. Everything is not going to be fine, and people need to wake up and see this before it's too late. If they're not waking up now, it's almost getting too late. The price of food, the price of is doubling. It's getting harder and harder to be able to prep because of the price of everything. And even if you can find it, you know, that's why I tell you the key is self-reliance. If you produce, because eventually you are going to run out of your food preps. And I have a playlist, a foraging list, taught by a professional. You need to learn how to forage, hunt, fish. It's according to where you live, you know. You need to grow a garden. So true. Thank you, Karen. Craig, I have pronunciation problems. I apologize for that. I had a heat stroke when I was in another land where it was really hot, wearing that body armor. That's another thing, too. You know, you need to get body armor. I mean, a lot of people, I haven't been advising friends to prep for years. I feel bad. However, I've shared teaching and prepping ideas. So if they haven't listened, not my problem. You're right. You know, if you tell them to prep and they don't, because, you know, I do work security. I'm trying to get out of that business because people are losing their minds. I've been getting cut more often and dealing with weapons and whatnot. And it's just too much. And I want to spend time with my wife. And I want to be able to homestead. You know, that takes a lot of work to get everything ready. But they're going to wake up one day and they're not going to have nothing. And their kids are going to be starving. And you know what? That's on them. If you don't get prepared and your kids end up starving, that's on you. Because they've a lot of people been warning you. You need to get ready. But no, people still just going out and spending money on stupid stuff and partying, and you know, they'll go to the bar and spend $300-400 on a tab when they could have just went to the liquor store and bought an $18 bottle of whiskey and got drunk. if that's what they feel they need to do. You know, I I'm kind of what you call antisocial. My job, I have to deal with so many people that I really don't want to deal with no one. That's why I like the YouTube. That way I can teach without having to deal one on one, which I will, if there's someone that wants to learn how to be an expert at edge weapon, because I feel personally everybody's gun crazy, but you need to master that knife. Everybody has a knife. And even if they do away with the Second Amendment, which they're trying, everybody's still going to have a knife. And, speaking of that, the cities that have the most strictest gun laws have the most shootings. It's because the bad guys, they don't care about the law. They are always going to have guns. Even, you can make a gun. I know how to make one. You can make a gun. But the law-abiding citizens are not carrying guns because they don't want to break the law. And then they get victimized. So the place with the most strictest gun laws is where most of the shootings happen, because people can't defend themselves. It's insanity. It's really what it is. So you need to prep. You need to work on your defense. If you have the money, I would get a second location, even if it's just a shed out in the middle of the woods somewhere on legal property. Floyd 3, you're right. A lot of banks changed policies on Tuesday, and everything else changed with amounts you can receive and send, as well as fees added to everything now. Online banking rules are ridiculous. You're right. You're right, Floyd 3. KG Floyd 3. You're right. They're doing that because they don't have the money. They've loaned your money out on these overpriced homes, thinking they're going to make big bucks when the housing bubble is going to pop. And there's going to be a lot of people, they're not going to be able to afford to pay for these homes, and then the bank's not going to be able to give you your money. So you need to get your money out of the bank and spend it on food, defense, a second location if possible, even if it's just a buy here, pay here shed. That way, if, things are bad where you're at, you can retreat to your second location. Because you never know, a dirty bomb, fallout, there's no telling. Well, it's going to end bad. There's no telling exactly how it's going to end. I do believe this thing is going to end in nuclear. And maybe that was their plan from the whole get-go, put us in a nuclear winter to stop global warming. But what these people fail to understand, when they set those nukes off, whichever way the wind's blowing, the fallout is going to be catastrophic. But the rich elites, they already have their fancy high-dollar underground bunkers and years of food and all. I'm just a regular guy, I can't afford all that. Most of us, we can't do that. So we're on our own. We're going to be on our own. You need to create a MAG team, a mutual assistance group, with people you trust that are like-minded. Because a lone man is easy prey. If you get a group I hear you. I hear you, Billy the Kid. If you get a group of like-minded people, and genetics doesn't make family. Anyone you're willing to bleed for, that's family. So you get people that are willing to bleed for each other, you're just going to have to bunker down and hold a spot. You may have to have someone sitting at every window to keep from getting breached. That's why I'm a strong advocate of a bunker. I can see out, and I can put projectiles out, but they're not coming in the window because there is none. Just remember, though, if a place is hard to get in, it's hard to get out. A lot of people fail to understand that. You know, what if somebody drives by with a Mocktail cocktail? You need to have ways to put fires out. I have so many fire extinguishers. I have a water hose running in here. Redundancy is the key to get through this. You know, when you think you got enough food put back, double it. Because you never know when that, like me, I have a lot of daughters and a lot of grandkids. And they're going to show up. And yeah, you're right, Billy the Kid, Norwood, Bonker. Yeah. So you need to also prep for the ones that you love that are not prepping. I don't understand why they're not prepping. I don't know if it's out of selfishness. I don't know if they want to maintain some sort of normalcy and just think everything's going to be fine. It reminds me of that movie, The Titanic, where the band's playing while the ship is sinking, because that's what's happening. Everybody's just going on, milling around like everything's fine, when we are literally on the verge of nuclear war with Russia and China. You need to get some potassium iodine pills. That will help save you from the fallout. You need to have water filtration systems. They do sell them that will filter out the nuclear. They have those. But even if you're not filtering out nuclear, but if people drink, they can get out of hand with each other. And are the rules in these groups? Yes, there's no drinking. In my group, when we're grouped together and we all got there's no drinking. Because some people cannot handle their alcohol. I have learned that working as a bouncer. Okay, some issues I have here: family not prepping, laughing at me when I advise to prep, will be showing up on the doorstep. So I need to, yeah. And, if you can't afford, because, they will literally eat you out of house and home. If you've been warning them and they're spending their money recklessly while you've been suffering, and what I mean by suffering is you could have been going out and doing this and that, but instead you're spending your money on putting your food back. Me personally, that sounds cold and all, but that's on them. I'm not taking food out of the mouth of the people that's been prepping to feed people that's been out there partying it up, going to Disney World, spending all their money there. Yeah, hard whiskey does make some people very mean. It makes me mean. I'm not even going to lie. That's why I never take more than 2 shots of any kind of liquor. Because any more than that, and I get mean. It's true. So I know I stop at 2 shots or I'll be mean. Billy the Kid, hard whiskey makes me drunk. I stick with the blue ice. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I like to drink occasionally. I just don't. I don't drink too much. When I first started suffering from PTSD, I did drink a lot, and that caused me a lot of problems. So I don't do that anymore. I like taking me 1 or 2 shots, and that's it. I don't need to escape reality, but sometimes I do need to relax. But for some people, they don't need to touch alcohol at all. Billy the Kid, Northwood, I believe I may have. That you don't have to be in combat to have PTSD. You can just have a traumatic experience in your life that will give you PTSD. Because, once I was diagnosed with it, I wanted to know and learn about it. And there's a lot of people that have PTSD that's never even been shot at. Okay. It's not just a military warrior thing. There's a lot of civilians that have PTSD because they have seen things. Your mind, you cannot unsee anything. You're right, Billy. It can happen. Something traumatic can happen in your life and it will give you PTSD. And that's hard to live with. You'll all of a sudden start feeling nervous and anxious and you're not sure why. I have learned to use any weakness to turn it into a strength. I use my PTSD for a strength. The extra vigilance that comes along with it, well, that works great in the security work. Being hyper aware of your surroundings, that works great in the security business. You're right. PAEMTFF9 going to open a shift convenience store called ATF. LOL. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms will be worth their bartering weight in gold. You damn right. In other countries, it was the ammunition and the guns that were the most valuable asset to have. And then, of course, food. And don't forget medical. You need medical. That I'm sure if you watch Prepper Channel's Jace Medical, I'm not affiliated, but that's a good idea. You need to learn how to use a tourniquet. You need to learn how to sew a wound up. My wife, she sewed me up so many times, she's a pro at it. You need to learn these things if you want to make it through. Like I said, when sanitation goes down, there's going to be all kinds of diseases. And if you don't have antibiotics and if you don't have a way to clean water, you're not going to make it. You can have all the guns in the world, but if you don't have a source of clean water, you're not going to make it. A lot of preppers, they forget about a lot of stuff. Medical, salt. You need to have salt put back. Your body needs it. A source of fat. Look, man, I just shoot from the hip. I don't write nothing down. I just kind of ramble. Yeah, you're right. PAEMT. You're absolutely correct. You can grab that stuff from Walmart. Those antibiotics, mainly in the fish section. Go down to a feed store. They literally sell penicillin, amoxicillin is pharmaceutical grade. You need to stock up on that. That's important. That will save lives. It's like I'm eat up with ants and all, and now I can soap so you can clean that stuff. You're gonna need soap. Yeah, we are eventually. There's a true saying in the paramedic world because I'm a field medic. I've been out, and if you're bleeding out, I can save your life. But really, I'm just extending your life because one day you are going to die. Me, I'd rather die on my own terms. I'd rather go out in combat, fighting for what I believe in, not just laying in the bed going out for whatever reason. A lot of people say they want to die in their sleep. Not me. I want to go out in combat fighting tyranny. Yeah, wild oregano oils, natural antibiotics, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. Thank you, Billy the Kid. That's the way to go is natural. Go natural. Now you're going to need those pharmaceuticals for the severe infections and all. But you need to go natural the best you can. Because a lot of that stuff, you can grow it. Like I run 7 miles every day. And my knees, they're pretty banged up. So I use turmeric and olive oil. And it really does reduce the inflammation better than certain medications. It really does work better. Yeah, but I should, but it relieves the stress, keeps my cardio up, and I do wear knee braces, so it's not as hard. And I run in flip flops. As crazy as that sounds, I really do. But these particular flip flops, they are so cushioning that it's not hammering on my knees. So I wear knee braces and I wear very cushiony flip flops. And I don't jog, I run. I have to do it. It just relieves my stress. Nature and exercise really helps my PTSD. It really does. Coming here on YouTube and saying what I know, because I don't know everything. Any valuable information, yeah, that's a long ways. That's the point. You never know how far you may have to run. There's a saying in combat. Sometimes you don't always have to be the best fighter. Sometimes you got to be the fastest runner. Yeah, been there, buddy. 3 miles a day. Running, not jogging. Roger that. Man, I've done so much. one day I'll wear my cut. It's got a lot of my insignias on there, and you'll see. I don't like to talk about it a whole lot because I don't like going there. Oh, so you've probably seen some combat. I don't like going there, because it just is like a rabbit hole for me. I start thinking about one thing, then another. Next thing you know, I'm right in the middle of it. So I try not to even go there mentally. I'm just trying to prep, trying to get people through what's coming. And I'm telling you, if you are not prepping, you're not going to make it. And don't rely on people like me to get you. Yeah, thank you, Billy. I appreciate that. You do understand. You know, don't rely on people that are prepping, because a lot of people that are prepping, when you show up at their door, you're liable to get shot because they're going to know you're there to take. So, you're on your own with this unless you have a mag team. If you don't, and I suggest you be very careful who you let in your mag team. Like, for instance, in the city where these people live in these big, nice, giant mansions, when the shit hits the fan, you're right, Billy the Kid. Do not let people know you're prepping. I live in a small bunker, so I prep through self-reliance. I garden, I fish, I hunt. I don't have much space in here to put much back. Sure, I got a bucket of beans and a bucket of rice. I don't have much room in here. And I've learned all my preps are renewable. I can regrow them. I got rabbits. They breed like rabbits. But right now, I mainly hunt and forage and fish. And I do have my gardens. And I eat out of those also. But that's the key. I'm 50 years old. I'm 50 years old and I still cage fight. Even at 50, I'll jump in that cage and get her done. I got the face of an 80-year-old. I got the face of an 80-year-old man, because I've lived a rough life. That is stress. It ages you. Now my body is a little younger. Now I do got injuries, back, knees. I got all kind of injuries. It'd be easy to tell you what didn't hurt. Appreciate you, Billy. Appreciate you. I have a lot of injuries, but I just push through it. That's where the turmeric and the olive oil helps. And I discovered the olive oil. How do you combat stress? That's a good question. One is I run. Two is I garden. Three is I go out in nature and hunt. And that helps my stress. That really does help my stress. It's just going out into nature and watching the birds and thinking about which ones would taste the best. And hunting and fishing and gathering and foraging and gardening. I'm a big fan of that show, Cobra Kai. And honestly, the guys they portray in there as the bad guys, really their methods are better. It is what it is. Yeah, yeah, look that up. Coping, yes. Yeah, hey, whatever works for you, Billy the Kid. If that works, hell yeah. Different people, different ways. Right here in Florida, it's 3:23 in the morning. I can't sleep. So I just figure I'd do a random YouTube live. I just do them when I'm inspired to do them. A lot of people can't sleep at night. I figure I'd get on here and just talk and say what I know. I grow these things here. They grow good down here. I grow sweet potatoes. They grow good down here. I do a lot of gardening. Yep, that's an avocado. And man, I got a bumper crop this year. That usually means we're going to have a hard winter. But yeah, my garden's doing great. I'm literally giving food away. Sometimes I will sell it. I like to give it away, but I am running low on money because little Miss Prepper, she doesn't want me working at the strip club. It doesn't have anything to do with the girls. She knows I'm not messing with those girls. It's just that she's tired of sewing me up when I come home. I'm like, baby, I need some stitches. It's just getting bad. People are losing their damn minds. It's financial struggle. It's just a lot of things. And I think that has something to do with it too. Yeah, I need to go back to the club. I'm trying not to, cause yeah, yeah, I need to. I really do. It's just I never get to spend any time with my wife when I'm working there. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Billy the Kid. You're right. But I work 12-hour shifts, man, and nobody wants to work. Sometimes 6, 7 days a night, and getting cut up all the time, having to fight. I get killed up there, then I'm not going to be no help when everything goes down to my family. And there has been a couple times where I damn near got killed. Yeah, it has its moments, okay? Yeah, I appreciate that, Billy the Kid. It has its moments. You know, I love protecting people, and those girls are literally like my daughters. No, I don't mess with those girls like that. It's their trade. Honestly, those girls hate perverts. They just like their money. They're just up there to make their money, just like I'm up there to make mine. I put my body on the line too. I'm really good friends with a lot of those girls. They call me dad, and not in a perverted way. Okay, no, there's none of that. It's hilarious watching a customer get out of line with a girl, and she looks over her shoulder and she goes, "Hey, dad, this guy done this," and the guy's like, "Holy shit, that's her dad. I'm in trouble now." So, you know, and I do tell them, look, girl, you need to find another way of making money. But some of them, they just get caught up in that. And it is what it is. I don't judge nobody. If I judge people, I would have to judge myself. and I would be a condemned man. The things I've had to do under combat. So I don't judge nobody. No, that's God's job, not mine. Yeah, a lot of them do. You're right, Billy Kid. They are. It's quick, easy money for them. I will tell you, some of them they don't like doing it anymore. They're just stuck in it. They first start out liking it. They like the attention. They like easy money, but things happen. Things happen. Yeah, you're right, Billy the Kid. You don't make a whole lot of money working as a bouncer. It has to be more like a calling, like YouTube. YouTube don't pay hardly nothing. It's when people donate money, that's a big help for the channel because YouTube doesn't really pay that much. If you can't donate money, let the commercials play through. We get a little bit of that. You know, as a YouTube creator, we really don't make much money. It's when people donate money is what keeps us going. And there is a lot of YouTube channels out there like me. We're trying to help. You know, it helps me when I help somebody. That's weird how that works, but it helps me when I help somebody. When I put this information out here, you better stockpile food, you better get your defenses, you better keep your head on a swivel, you better be aware of your surroundings. You need to pay attention to what's going on in the world. Don't get overwhelmed by it. Just keep prepping. Follow the course. Stay the course. Don't get all caught up in the politics and this and that because they're going to do what they're going to do. Hell yeah, am I going to vote? Absolutely. But that's really all I can do is vote. And even that's questionable nowadays. So, yeah, it is what it is. We rely on donations and all. And I would like to be a full time YouTuber just to get people through this because I have recruited people through YouTube. I've had people join my mag team. I met some really good people on here. Yeah, you do you, Billy the Kid. That's a personal choice. If somebody, whoever they vote, that's their personal choice. You vote for who you feel you need to vote for. Hopefully, it'll make a difference. It seems like Texas and Florida are really the only governors that are impressing me right now. All the other ones seem to have dropped the ball. I could be missing a few, but the Florida governor, I'm grateful for him. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Erica Gardens. It's people are losing their minds. They really are. I don't know. I got an idea that this has got something to do with it, but it's just a theory. And the financial situation. Everybody's on edge. Maybe it's just that instinct, that the the impeaching feeling of doom is around the corner. Maybe it's that. Human instinct has kept a lot of people alive. I've learned to trust my instincts. It has kept me alive. Like I said, I've been in combat. I was a contractor. And no, I didn't build homes. I did contract work for the military. And my instinct is what is the reason why I'm still here right now. It is. But I appreciate all you. I think All American Prepper and I are not. Yeah, we're not brainwashed. See, that's why I don't have a television in here. I got a conspiracy theory, and you can prove it just by randomly pause your TV. And occasionally, if you just pause it at the right time, you'll see some weird ass writing that has been flickered in there. And you're not reading it, but your subconscious mind is reading it. Call that a conspiracy theory, but try it. That's why I don't have a television in my home. And the news, the mainstream media, I would catch them lying all the time to where it would raise my blood. Yeah, subliminal messages. They are doing that on television. That's why I do not watch it. Yeah, that's why it's called programming. On television, the next program is, it's programming. Maybe that's a lot to do with it. Is the subliminal messages are getting through to people. I don't have a television. I got so aggravated with the mainstream media. My wife is like, look, you need to just not watch that. You're going to give yourself a stroke. You're right, Billy the Kid. So I was like, you know what? You're right. Because they lie all the time. They just piss me off. So I just threw the TV in the yard. We don't have a television in here. And to be honest with you, the mainstream propaganda, the things that they can't hide, that they have to report, you'll see it on YouTube days before then. You will. On these channels that report what's going on, they're 2-3 days ahead of the mainstream media. And they also will report a lot of things that the mainstream media will not. YouTube is not a competition for me. I recommend people watch other prepper channels. See it from a different point of view. They may be something that I have missed that they will touch. Now, be aware there's a lot of them that are trying to scare the shit out of you to get you to buy their products. But I don't do that. Now, Bone Tactical, that is a good product. And I do product reviews on here. So, if anyone has a great product, they think it up way before they... You're right, Billy the Kid. They do. It's all a plan. It's all a plan. They got it all written down. They got it all planned out. There's so many people that's so brainwashed from watching this television. It is ridiculous. That's why I won't even allow one in my home. I just watch YouTube, and there's a lot of good movies on YouTube too, by the way. Anything. You can literally watch YouTube all day. There's everything on there. There's a lot of good old movies. There's a lot of good stuff on YouTube. That's what I do. Or I'll do the free, the Hulu 30-day trial. Go ahead and get the $12.99 one. Yeah. I'll watch Hulu until my 30 days expire, before my 30 days, because I can't afford that $12.99. Yeah, Disney, though, they're one of the worst about subliminal messages, by the way. Billy the Kid, be careful with that Disney because they're bad about subliminal messages because they're going after our children. But yeah, get them deals like I did to Hulu, $12.99 and cancel it before 30 days and it doesn't cost anything. That's why I say the $12.99 one, so it's the one without commercials. So, because when you do the cheaper $6.99 one, they kill you with the commercials. Just pay the $12.99. They don't charge you. You can't make sure you cancel it in time before the 30 days, and it doesn't cost anything. And you just got to watch a lot of good movies for free and cancel it. You can do the same thing with Netflix. It's a money saving way. Now that the dollar is as contradictory as this sounds, now that the dollar is worth less, those pennies mean more. And a lot of people are like, what? Because it takes more pennies to get what the hell you need. I'll bend over. I'm amazed at how much change I find on the ground walking out of a convenience store. Spiritual physical PAMTFF9. Spiritual fitness, psychological preparedness. Had on a head on a swivel. Stay prepared and ready. Good night. Good night. Good to have you here. I always appreciate you, PAMT. I appreciate you. You're always in the chat. Thank you and have a good night. I'm about ready to shut this down here shortly too myself, so you're not going to miss much. But I just get on here and I just talk, and I answer your questions. Like when people's on their phone, they're like, "Man, this guy can't stay on top." They don't realize I'm answering questions over here. That's what's happening. So no, I'm not completely crazy. I'm answering questions. If you're on your computer, you will be able to see the chat, but on the phone, it doesn't show it. I don't guess. Hell, I don't know. I'm not a tech guy. I'm just an old redneck soldier, bouncer, prepper, survivalist. They used to call us survivalists. Now they call us preppers, and they call us crazy. What kind of fish do I catch out here? Largemouth bass, bluegill, catfish. I use a cast net, so I catch a lot of Nile perch, what they call tilapia. It's Nile perch. I catch a lot of that. That's good eating. If you catch it out of clean water, that Nile perch is really good. And then I'll go down to the bay and catch some mullet and smoke it, because that smoked mullet to me is one of the best foods in the world. So I do both freshwater and saltwater. A lot of cast netting. I'll run trout lines in freshwater. And I do rod and reel fish. But I catch all kinds, all kinds. Especially in the salt water. You never know what you're going to catch there. But fishing, that's a renewable resource. So you need to fish. You need to hunt. You need to forage and grow a garden. I can't emphasize that enough. You must become self-reliant. The whole system is crashing. And even if the food is available, are you going to be able to afford it? I mean, the price of everything. What would Billy do? You damn right. I've thought about it, but I don't break the law. I've done been in trouble. I don't plan on no. You can't help nobody when you're locked up. And it's really hard to get away with anything nowadays. Cameras everywhere. They track your phone. They listen on your phone. They really, that phone, they don't need to wear a bug if they got a damn cell phone on them. They just use that. They're tracking and monitoring everything we do for some reason. I assume it's for some diabolical reason, but I don't know how you feel about Snowden. I'm kind of bipolar with him. He's a traitor for revealing secrets, but some people feel those secrets needed to be revealed. So that's your choice. But he did enlighten a lot of people about them gathering every email. Yeah, you're right, Billy. They're monitoring every email, that's why I don't do Facebook. I got rid of it. All it is to profile you and to know who you know. That way, if they ever go looking for you, they're just going to look on your friends list and they're going to find you. That's why I don't do it. No Facebook for me at all. I used to do it. I spent a lot of time on it, really. But it's an addiction. You're right. You're right, Billy Kid. Billy the Kid. Facebook is investigational gold. Oh, yeah, or frame people. Yeah, you're right. Erica Gardens, you're right. So that's why I don't do Facebook. You know, your Facebook can get hacked and anybody can post anything on there. And that Facebook hacking is happening more and more often. I just want nothing to do with it. I wash my hands of it. I don't. YouTube is the only social media I do. And I do this to try to teach people how to make it through what's coming. And I do repeat myself. Yeah, YouTube is awesome and it's free. Get your money out of the banks. Turn it into hard assets or you're going to lose it. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can almost promise you that. So I appreciate you guys a lot. I appreciate y'all's donations. It really helps the channel. If there's any questions you want to ask me before I shut this down, let me know. I'll answer them. But like I said, you need to be growing avocado. Whatever your environment allows you to grow, you need to grow that stuff. And right now, I suggest rabbits. They reproduce. I grow all their food. I grow it all. I don't have to buy anything. And they reproduce like rabbits. And that's a renewable source of meat. So with that, it's the All American Prepper. Stay strapped. Stay dangerous. Stay ready. Thank you for being here. Oh, here's another question. What are the best assets to acquire before the crash? Food, defense, water purification systems, antibiotics. You need to learn and train at least basic medical. At least learn how to use a tourniquet and learn how to stitch someone up and have some antibiotics put back. to treat that wound if it gets infected. And become as self-reliant as possible, to where the last time you got to go to the store, you know you're on the right track. You can just go out to the garden and pick your tomatoes, go out to the garden and pick whatever you want. Go out there, clean you a rabbit, get you a pellet gun, shoot you a squirrel, shoot you a bird. All North American birds are edible. When you can do that and go months without going to the... Really, the only reason why I go to the store is to get soap. In Fight Club, they were right. Tyler Durden was right. Soap is a yardstick to society, something like that. But I got to have my soap. You got to have soap. You got to stay clean. That's in a grid down situation. If you don't stay bodily clean, you will get sick. And I'm not affiliated with them, but I love that Sasquatch soap. That stuff is good. It lasts a lot longer than regular bar soap, and it makes you feel so clean. But yeah, get you a pellet gun too, because when you shoot a rabbit or a squirrel or a bird with that pellet gun, and they make them stronger than 22 rifles now, you could shoot somebody in the eye and put them out of the fight. You could use that for self-defense if that's all you had. But it's a quiet way to hunt. Because when that gun goes off and they're starving people around, it is going to be like the zombie apocalypse. They're going to be coming. They're going to be coming. So, I would food prep, train in medical, get a pellet gun, start gardening, because, gardening is a learning thing. You're not just going to get your survival seeds, throw them in the ground, and expect to have a bumper crop. It does not work that way. Gardening is an art. You must learn how to do that. That's why I'm a big fan of Forager. You don't have to do nothing. It just grows. But there's some places you're going to have to garden. And it is nice to be able to go out there and pick a tomato or whatever I need. So that's what I would. And if I had the money, after I had my food and my defenses and my self-reliance and a big old stack of soap, after I had everything, my second location, every preppable thing I could, if I had any money left over, I would buy silver with it. Because that silver will hold value. That paper money is done for. So I appreciate y'all's donations. That keeps the channel alive. Thank y'all for that. It's the All-American Prepper. Stay strapped. Stay dangerous. Stay ready. And have a blessed evening.